All right. Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this edition of Live on ServiceNow for Now Assist in Service Catalog. Yeah, so before we dive into the details of our discussion today, I'd like to draw your attention to our safe harbor notice, just to take this away. As we explore potential strategies, future operations, anticipated outcomes, just keep in mind that these are based on our current beliefs, the assumptions that we have, and information available to us today. So while we're excited about all of this, everything we'll be discussing today, it's just important to know that these are forward-looking statements and they inherently involve risk and uncertainties. So with that context in mind, we'll be proceeding with the rest of the presentation. All right, so today's session is part of our Live on ServiceNow series, where we create an open conversation to discuss relevant topics in the ServiceNow ecosystem. And the goal of this is to supercharge your productivity and deliver value for you and your business. So if you want to take a minute, you can scan the QR code you can see on the screen on the right to link you to like our future events, and you can register and attend. The link will also be shared in the chat for folks that are not able to scan the QR code at this time. All right, so with me on the call today is Kartik. Kartik is an inbound product manager at ServiceNow, managing the service catalog. And Anurag is a manager on our software engineering team. And I am Tosin. I'm an outbound product manager for Service Catalog as well. All right, before we go into the meat of the conversation, we wanted to run a poll to get a sense of where we all are today. So if you can take a minute, can you tell us which of the below options best describes your role at your organization? There should be a poll on your screen right now where you can respond 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, it looks like we have about 70% participation on the poll. From the current results, most people on the call are service slash business or product owners, and that's about 46%. And then coming in second are ServiceNow developers. Then catalog admins coming at third. That's interesting to note. Let's throw you one more question.
Listen, we got answers for all three.
Oh, I see. All right.
I think a lot of them are still evaluating Now Assist use cases. All right. Let's move forward.
All right. And we wanted to also previous slide, please. We wanted to also get a sense of what you want out of this session. So if you could quickly use the annotate tool, it should be at the top of your Zoom app, depending on what platform you're using, and you can just write out on the screen what you want out of this session.
Yeah, Tasuni, I think we got the answers to those. So I think we can move forward.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kartik. So I'll be handing this Kartik to take this away.
All right, thank you so much, Tosin. Hey everyone, I'm Karthik. As Tosin introduced me, I'm the product manager for Service Catalog, Catalog Builder, and Conversation Catalog. So the agenda for today is that first we'll have a demo of the catalog item generation using Now Assist and Catalog Builder. Then we'll talk about the best practices around that. And then we'll have a demo of the Now Assist in conversational request submission, that is the conversational catalog. And then we'll talk about the best practices around that. So without further ado, let's head straight into the demo for text to catalog. To start with, we'll launch Catalog Builder because Catalog Builder is where we have the text to catalog. So to start with, let's start a new catalog item. Select template. This is usual catalog builder stuff. And when you have the Now Assist app installed, the first step that you would see is the Now Assist, where you can actually provide the text prompt to create a catalog item. So I have a text prompt copied already. So let's go to the prompt and see how Now Assist would be able to generate this. So I let's say I want to generate a travel visa request, as I want the employees in my company to apply for visa whenever they are visiting a different country, uh, either for work or for customer visit or any conference. So how I would give this as an instruction is that I would say I want employees to submit a request for travel visa. The form should ask for travel type, and notice that I'm presenting the options like internet extended customer visit, with customer visit being the default value. So here I'm specifying that what should be the default value. Then travel start date and passport number, which are mandatory. Country of birth and country traveling to are mandatory fields, which are references to the core country table. Then mandatorily ask for business justification, as it is very important. And finally, add a reference variable to the user table at the beginning of the form to know who the request is for. So this is a simple text prompt. You can make it even simpler if you just want to say it's create a request for travel visa. It would automatically generate with some set of questions. If you already have some set of questions in your mind, you can describe those like I have done here. So let's ask Now Assist to generate. So this is use the power of LLM to generate the item. Taking a little longer than expected. Usually it does not take this much time. Oops, that shouldn't have happened. Let me try it once again. If not, I'll have to refresh and see. Okay, this time it runs. That's that didn't. Let me refresh page. Always happens when I demo this. I'm third time lucky. Thank God that worked. Okay, let's see the preview of this. Let me put it on a different tab. All right, so we see that the item has been generated. The travel type was asked, and we have the customer visit as the default. The travel start date, it correctly took as a daytime field. The passport number is a mandatory field, so are the countries, country of birth and country traveling to, and the business justification. So it generated the questions that we wanted. Now let's all we need to do is go ahead and submit. But in case you want to make any changes, you can do so. And anything that the AI generated would be shown up with an AI tag. So make sure you check the text for accuracy. And if you want, you can go ahead and edit each of these questions like you would normally do. At this point right now, we will only generate questions. We haven't yet given the ability to generate UI policies or dynamic behavior, which will be coming in a future release. So let's go to settings, hide the attachment button. Let's go to fulfillment and add a fulfillment flow to it. And I'm good to submit the item. Before that, if you wanted to make a change to the item, you could come here and then retype the prompt or change the prompt and hit the generate button again. It will generate the item again for you. But let's now go ahead and submit. So this would submit the item, and that is how you create a catalog item using just simple text prompts. It's as simple as that. This would help you in not only creating the item faster, but also allowing you to democratize the catalog maintenance so that now your business owners also can use the text to catalog to generate catalog items. Let's now talk about the best practices around this. So ensure that you give detailed and precise descriptions of the catalog item, including its purpose, features, and any other specific configurations. The more details that you put, the better is the output, as we have seen with any GenAI related creations. And clearly outline any mandatory fields, help text, type of question, options, and default value. So if you want something like a help text to be generated, do mention that. If you want a specific type of questions, do mention that. Even if you don't give, the LM will try its best to guess the correct type. It will come up with options, helpful suggestions, and default value. But if you want it, you can mention that explicitly. And when you mention that, the LLM does a good job of creating those given the instructions. Then stick to industry standard terms. If you, as far as possible, avoid jargon. It might confuse the AI, right? And also the users and users who would eventually be using the catalog item. And for questions, especially the reference questions, right now do specify the exact table name. In a future release, we would want to get to a stage where you wouldn't need to give the exact table name, but there are certain limitations in the first release, due to which you would have to provide the exact table name. For example, in the example that I showed, I put in the core country table, but in your case, it could be says user or any table. Going forward in a future release, we would want to get to a stage where you could just have to provide the information and it should automatically get the table name. But right now, you have to give the exact table name. And for a record producer, you have to specify the exact field name to which you want to map the question. So that would then map the question to that particular field. And always review the generated catalog item to ensure accuracy and completeness. After all, it is AI, it can make mistakes. Though we've trained it so that it makes less and less mistakes, but there is chance of it making mistakes. Always review. All right, so now that we have created the item. Let's go and see if it got published. Yep, the item got published. So let's look at the item. Let's now look at how we can request it. So first, let's now look at the conversational coverage dashboard to understand how you can use that to see if an item is conversational or not. So you can click the view conversational details button. This will open the conversational tab. We are lucky that this particular item does not have any entities that would make the item non-conversational. But in case it contains something non-conversational, we would see it here. So let's go to the home page and see if there are any items which are not non-conversational. So there are a few, and this would provide you the complete picture of the conversational catalog overview. That is, how many items in your system are conversational, how many are not, and what are the top reasons for which it is not conversational. And it will also give you what are the popular channels. The items you see here are in the descending order of their request. This data corresponds to the last 6 months. So it'll give you a sense of what are the most popular items, and you can actually see among the most popular items how many are conversational and not. And do remember that the data here is refreshed every once a day. There's a scheduled job which is running in the background, which will update this data once a day. Now let's look at why this particular item is non-conversational. All right, so this particular one has at least one question with pricing implications. That is, it has choice-based pricing. So this choose colors has pricing, and hence this item is non-conversational. The reason being we don't show pricing in VA today, and since we don't have that, we don't show that information, it may not be complete information to the requester, hence we don't make the item conversational. We are trying to add more and more features to our conversational catalog. So in a future release, you should see that this also will be supported in VA. But right now, since we don't support, you see that this item is not conversational. So let's go back and see some other items. All right, let's check create incident. So create incident is not conversational because it has unsupported question types. Specifically, custom questions are not supported. Uh, re Reason is obvious because they are custom. We wouldn't know how to handle them in VA. We are trying to see if we can solve that. But for now, if a catalog item contains any custom question, then that item will not be conversational. Similarly, we have addressed a lot of these issues. In case you've already used or you've already tried it out, and you see that a lot of items are non-conversational, the suggestion from us would be, recommendation would be to update to the latest version that you can, depending on your family version, update to the latest store app, because the latest one has all the updates that we have done. So we've been adding support for all these entities, a lot of entities in every release. So if there is an update available, please go and check the plugin. If there is an update available, please do update to that. You should see that the conversational percentage go up. But this is a helpful dashboard. It gives you a view of how many items are conversational and how many are not. And if the item is not conversational, what are the reasons? So you can go to the item and then make changes. If for example, if it contains a custom question, if you want the item to be conversational, then you might want to make the custom variable inactive. Or if it contains pricing information, you want to remove that if you want that to be conversational in VA. So it gives you information about what makes the item non-conversational. So now that we know the item that we created is conversational, let's see how we can request that in VA. So let's go to Employee Center. And I'm going to request. Just let me open that here. Next. There's the form. Let's see how we can request it. Now, what I can do is I can provide additional information while I'm searching. So let's say I want to uh, uh, travel to the US uh, 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 for X purpose, right? And on say this October, right? So what I have done is I have mentioned, I've already answered a few of the questions that appear here. Oops. Mm, Next to go to as on first October. I hope it takes it up this time. Though I did a typo. Right. I understood that I want to travel visa. Let's get started. Let's see if it is able to pick up the 1st October as the date. Just give something in the edge. Mm, 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 States. So you might notice that United States was not selected, even though I had mentioned that in my search. That the reason for that is because this is a reference field, and reference field we do not support a slot fill at this moment. So reference field would have to be manually selected. I want to travel for conference. Right? Okay, so we see that the travel date has been correctly slot filled. The rest of them were selected. Now, so in a way, what you can do is you can actually enter give all the information, and with one statement you can place the request. So you see the power of conversational catalog, that you can fill the entire form with just one sentence. So in case there is a request form that you generate quite often, right, which is a very often used one, and it has 5 or 6 questions. You can have a sentence ready, and you can use that to quickly go in to VA and place that request. So that is the power of conversational catalog. But let's say you want to make a change. So let's say I want to change. I want to change. Let's change to travel type to say internal, and the uh, start date to the 5th of October. So you can actually uh, provide multiple answers when you want to change. So you see that the travel type has been changed to internal, and the travel date time has been changed to 5th of October. So you can use that, and in place of date, you can also say something like next Monday or next month, 1st of next month, or tomorrow, or things like that. it is a conversational way of filling the form, right? So that is the power of conversational catalog. So now that the form is filled, let's go ahead and submit. And we should see that the item would be submitted and we get the RITM that was created. So that is how you could use conversational catalog. So we just generated the item, and it took like seconds or perhaps less than 5 minutes for us to generate the item and get the item published. And then we used conversational catalog to request the same item. Right, so that is the demo. Let's now talk about the best practices around conversational catalog. All right, so the best practices I've broken down into two sets. One is to improve the coverage of conversational items. So to increase the coverage, limit the configurations that are not supported. And to know what are supported and not, you can visit the official documentation. So that contains the entities which would make an item non-conversational. Uh, so custom variable would make an item non-conversational. So instead of using custom variable, it is suggested that you can use out of the box variable types such as rich text labels requested for, etc. If it makes sense. We've seen that a lot of the times the custom variables are used in place where rich text labels need to be shown. So in such cases, we recommend that you change the custom variable type into a rich text label. We do realize that there could be cases where custom variables are important and are necessary, and there is no out-of-the-box variable type. In which case it becomes the item would be non-conversational right now. The other one is instead of using advanced client or UI policy scripts, use no-code features like auto-populate or default value if it makes sense in that case. There could be cases where client script is necessary or UI policy scripts are necessary, in which case we do support a good number of methods in client scripts and UI policy scripts, but there are some methods which are not supported, and especially something like DOM manipulation. If you're trying to do DOM manipulation, then that item will not be supported conversationally in VA. So our recommendation is not to do DOM manipulation and use the out-of-the-box features, no-code features like auto-populate and default value as much as possible. But if you want to know what methods are supported for client scripts and UI policy script, you can see the official documentation that provides a list of supported methods. The other aspect is about the user experience itself, right? So to ensure that you get the maximum out of conversation catalog, have the product names, description, and questions as detailed as possible. The more data, the better it is for conversational catalog because it is LLM which is powering it. So so when you have the questions, make sure that you don't use one or two words. Perhaps you can use one or two words, but which makes sense. Use help text wherever possible. That will help the LLM to rephrase the questions in a proper manner. And if you don't want an item to be conversational, then you can go to the items record and check the box for make the item non-conversational in VA. There could be some items where you might see a lot of times the LLM is hallucinating, or it is not providing the right paraphrasing, or it is not able to understand the user's responses that well. It can happen. Ultimately, it is LLM. There could be cases where LLM might go wrong. We have seen that, especially when user is trying to provide answers for a single line text or a multi-line text where the question and answer is open-ended. We have seen that LLM sometimes hallucinates. So if it is happening a lot, then you can choose to make the item non-conversational, in which case it would be shown as either a pop-up or in a new tab in the portal form. If the catalog item contains sensitive information, then you might not want to send the data to LLM. In that case, select the turn off Now Assist for conversation for this item checkbox. So turning this off would ensure that it will not send the data to LLM. Instead, it will use the NLU version of the topic block. This might make the item non-conversational, but this will definitely ensure that the data is not sent to LLM. So if the item contains any sensitive information which you don't want to send to LLM, then you can use this checkbox. Now, while Service Catalog offers a lot of dynamic capabilities, the trend now is to move to smaller and more granular items. So instead of having a super complex item, we recommend that you create granular items. There are multiple reasons. One is faster adoption to multi-channel experiences, especially virtual agent and mobile. The more complex the item, the more challenging it will be for the conversational catalog to render it. And also in mobile, the more complex the item, the more UI policies and client scripts that it has to run. It becomes difficult for somebody using the mobile to request it to follow along. The second advantage is discoverability. Searching and browsing for specific item, specific product of a specific service is far more easier than one catalog item, which can encompass a multitude of use cases. The third advantage is it is a step toward delegation. With Catalog Builder, our endeavor is to allow the central ID teams to delegate the simple items to be created and maintained by the business owners or product owners themselves. So if you have granular items, it makes it easy for you to delegate. And the last 2 points are very important when it comes to the user experience for conversational catalog. As much as possible, try to avoid UI policies and client scripts taking action on a preceding or an already answered variable. That is, a variable with a higher order value taking an action on a variable with a lower order value. So the problem in a form in portal, because you can see all the questions, it wouldn't matter much. But when in virtual agent, when you're answering questions one after the other, when the action is being taken on a question which is already answered, it can confuse the user because we would be asking that question again, and it can confuse the user as to why we are asking that question again. So as far as possible, avoid UI policies and client scripts which take action on a preceding variable. In a similar vein, avoid adding a field message to a preceding variable. Today, we don't show a message on a preceding variable unless the variable itself is clear and made mandatory. We don't show the field message on a preceding variable. In a form, again, it is because all the questions are visible. It makes it easy for someone to see if a field message is added up to a preceding variable, but it is difficult on VA because we are going one question after the other. So these are some best practices. And one more thing which I have already mentioned and which I have not put here is avoid DOM manipulation as much as possible. Any DOM manipulation will result in the item being non-conversational. So that brings to the next question that we want you to answer. Like, now that you have seen the demo, we would want to know what is a feature that you would want us to add next. So I'll start the poll. Right, you should see poll on your screens. Please go and tell us what features you would want us to add next, if there is something. If you don't have anything or not yet started planning to start working on ourselves, which is also okay. If there is something that comes to mind or we have not seen, if you would like to see in the next coming releases, please do let us know. We would definitely take that input and work on it. And And just give another 20 seconds. Let me see if there are any questions in Q&A which have not been answered. Interesting that this created the two country fields as drop-down lists. Normal recommendation is that drop-downs not be created for lists having more than 25 elements. Does your company go have only few countries? No, Andrea, I'll not like. So no, the list contains more than 25 items, and it is. I'm not aware of this recommendation. The recommendation is usually for list collector when you have a lot of items. Sorry, to select box when you have a lot of items there, but 25 need not be need not worry you. If it has a lot, then the select box would be a problem. But in this case, I'm not sure how many countries it would have. It would be somewhere in the 150 between 100 to 200 range, which case it should not be a problem. But usually, yeah, the recommendation is to use reference fields, in which case you can mention that in the prompt that you give. For licensing, what is required for Now Assist? All the Now Assist features come with the Pro Plus. So you should have Pro Plus SKU, and the all the features will have the corresponding pricing separately. Cool. Where can you find the best practices for your friends? We'll share this deck with you, so you will get that. Uh, so 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 you should get the best practices that I've listed down in here. I've listed down most of the best practices. So so these are with this deck, you should have it with you. Does SSS work for creator or can be used for catalog builder? Ryan, I'm not sure what you mean. If I think you're asking if you would need Now Assist for creator, in which case, yes, Now Assist for creator license is required. Uh, and then you would use it in catalog builder to generate catalog items. And the example shown for travel request, how does the AI know that passport number, country are default fields? And if in our prompt, we want some custom fields like department, request, how do we write the prompt that the AI designs the catalog? Right, so Gregor, you can provide, you can say that, okay, add a question for department, and it should probably it should be reference field pointing to CMN_department, and it should have a default value of so and so, let's say, development or software, whatever, right? So and the LM will honor that. So if you don't give questions, then LLM will try to come up with its own questions. But if you give if you give a set of specific questions, then LLM will honor that and create those questions for you. Let me see if there are any more questions. Are LLM prompts available in multiple languages? Yes, we do support multiple languages. So we have a plugin using which you can use this in multiple languages. Can we get a recording of this session? I believe this would be recorded and posted to YouTube. Christina, is that right?
Yes, and I already placed the link on the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. It's possible to enable Catalog Builder and personal developer instance. Catalog Builder comes out of the box. Your instance should also already have Catalog Builder. Though what I'm not sure is if you can you enable Now Assist for Catalog Builder. That I'm not sure. I'll probably get back to you on that. If you are able to install Now Assist, then you should automatically and this particular feature comes with the Now Assist for Creator SKU. So text to catalog is part of the Now Assist for Creator. So if you are able to install that on your personal developer instance, you should be able to you're able to get the Now Assist and Catalog Builder as well. If there is any other questions? This can be used to select between incident, catalog item, enhancement, KV, etc. I'm not sure if you mean that from a requester point of view, if somebody is able to select an incident, or you're referring to the content item in case of KB. Okay, from an end user point of view, thanks Constantine for that clarification. From an end user point of view, yes, AI search should take care of distinguishing between what is the intent of the user. So when user is typing that, okay, I want to report something, then it should understand that it is you want it to be it has to go to an incident. And if there's a catalog item for that utterance, it'll go to the catalog item. Similarly, if there's a KB, it'll fetch you a summarized answer from that KB. So that should be taken care by AI search. So the recommendation is that you make the description yeah, as descriptive as possible for AI search to be able to ingest and point to the right entity like catalog item or KB article. Right. You guys, it was great talking to you all. Thank you so much, and I hope you had uh, a great time. Please do leave your feedback. You will get a survey after this. Please do fill that. We would love to hear